me to screen record, and I've tried everything. It hasn't been working, so I'm just going to do this. So, my name is Andrew. I did emotional behavioral disorder from 6th grade to 8th grade. So, EBD, what is it? Emotional behavioral disorder means to have trouble in building or maintaining healthy relationships with peers or teachers. This can affect the students when trying to find a job or maintain dreams or goals that the student strives for. Information on EBD. So, emotional behavioral disorder tends to be a reason why parents are told to take their children to mental health assessments or receive treatment. Left untreated, it can affect the individual when having the ability to hold a job or even maintain a relationship. Causes found in middle school and high school students are unhealthy weight control, transition between middle school and high school, bullying, and sexual harassment. What to look for: consistent or persistent inappropriate behavior, a look of unhappiness or depression, or physical symptoms of fear or fears that point towards personal problems or school problems. Markings of any kind, like slitted wrist. So strategy number 1 is cool down zone or signaling. So a cool down, if a teacher realizes that their student is growing frustrated, the student will need a cool down, so taking a break. Signaling is like when the teacher can tell something is wrong with the student. The teacher signals something that only the student and the teacher know without calling out the situation, and this tells the student to calm down, take a break, stop doing what they're doing if they're causing like a ruckus. Strategy number 2, reward positive behavior, or in other words, measuring scale. So reward positive behavior, so it reinforces and encourages children to repeat the same behavior. The child will learn to do the things or demonstrate the behavior for which they receive positive feedback and avoid behavior that generates no rewards. So rewards can be snacks, passes, etc. Measuring scale holds the student to a standard, like a point system. If the student meets the limit, they can be rewarded for positive behavior. Strategy number 3, allow for mini breaks. Mini breaks is taking time to periodically stop teaching and allow students to catch up if need be. Give them time to finish their assignments and allows those who have finished to stretch, get out of their seats, and move around a bit. This will allow them to burn off any excess energy that might have built up from sitting still for a long period of time. Strategy number 4, be motivational. Students with EBD have negative school experience, therefore they are not motivated to succeed in school settings. In order to make sure they're compliant, take extra steps to motivate them. So be positive 24/7, praise them. So the book I chose is Lost at School. So the summary of the book follows the story of Joey, a middle school student with severe behavior problems both at school and at home. The story the author follows also includes the point of view of Joey's mother, Miss Lowell, a frustrated single mother, Miss Woods, Joey's teacher, who is just as frustrated about Joey's behavior in the class as his mother is at home, Mr. Middleton, the assistant principal, who is drawn into the story when he has to deal with Joey's extreme behaviors, and Dr. Bridgman, the new school psychologist, who brings to the table a new way to work with Joey and other kids with similar issues. And then here is a quick little video that I'll have to show you guys.
Hello and welcome to Teachings in Education with Frank Avella, emotional and behaviorally disturbed students. We'll begin with an overview of working with EBD students. EBD students are the ones that are abandoned by other teachers and educators. Classroom teachers really have to be on their game when it comes to working with these students. EBD students require more time and effort than most students. The reality is that these students are very difficult to teach. Sometimes all it takes is just one EBD student to radically change a classroom's dynamic. However, many teachers report developing strong and lasting relationships with these students. I know I have. If you're able to get through to these children, it will be one of the most rewarding experiences as a teacher. I am telling you from my personal experience. And as crazy as it sounds, they often become a teacher's favorite student because you make such a difference in their lives. Right now, I'm going to get a little technical and talk about how to define emotional and behavioral students. Children must exhibit the following characteristics over a long period of time and to a degree that is adverse to their own education. The characteristics to be described are found in the Individuals with Disability Education Act. These children have an inability to learn that cannot be explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. They may have a general pervasive mood of unhappiness or depression. Emotionally behaviorally disturbed students may have inability to build or maintain satisfactory interpersonal relationships with peers and teachers. They may display inappropriate types of behavior, such as trying to start fights and whatnot. Up next, we'll explore the different types of behavior. Because of their behavior, most of these students are incapable of forming good relationships. The behavior is broken down into two types: internalizing behavior and externalizing behavior. Internalizing behaviors are actions that direct problematic energy towards one's own self. For example, these behaviors include nightmares and inability to sleep, the use of drugs and substance abuse problems, high levels of anxiety and depression, as well as social isolations and a withdrawn temperament. Externalizing behaviors, on the other hand, are troublesome actions directed outward toward one's environment. For example, the destruction of school property, acts of physical violence against other students, even staff, other types of behaviors that may cause the child to end up in a youth house or jail, behaving in a loud and obnoxious way, and making threats to students and teachers. There are also a number of disorders associated with the disability. The first disorder being ODD, which means oppositional defiant disorder, where children are defiant. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, that have difficulties paying attention and remaining still. Anxiety, which brings with it physiological symptoms such as fear, alertness. Bipolar disorder. Individuals will go through manic and depressive stages and frequently change their mood. Next, conduct disorders, where there is no recognition of basic social rules of conduct. Antisocial behavior, characterized by being aggressively hostile toward others and society in general. Lastly, schizophrenia, a mental disorder, which occurs usually when children are old enough that they're out of school. Very briefly, I'll discuss ways to both identify and assess EBD students. Although you may think RTI, response to intervention, only looks for academic weaknesses, it often helps screen and identify emotional and behaviorally disturbed students. FBAs, functional behavioral assessments, are used to identify root causes of behaviors. Now, I have 2 full videos on both RTI and FBAs if you want to get into detail. But right now, let's take a look at some different teaching strategies or guidelines for working with EBD students. First thing is first. You must be using effective and sound classroom management practices. All teachers must have a clear set of rules. These rules must be posted somewhere in the classroom and written as positive statements. Next, have consistent consequences for your students. Call them out when they are doing wrong, and deliver consistent and appropriate responses. You need to have engaging lessons. Relationships are one of the most important parts of classroom management, possibly the most important. Also, provide differentiation of instruction. Students require challenging yet achievable work, or they will act out. Next up, utilize conflict resolution strategies. First off, I have to say, conflict can be necessary at times. Conflict resolution doesn't mean always backing down from an aggressive student. There are going to be times when you have to stand your ground. Conflict resolution begins with good listening, giving the EBD student attention to their situation. If you feel things getting heated between you and the student, use some humor to lighten the mood. Humor is a great way to diffuse a situation. As a teacher, you have to be able to calm things down. Lastly, compromise is the core of conflict resolution. Compromise in a way that keeps you in authority by not giving in too much. Next, positive behavior intervention systems. It begins with positive reinforcement. When a student does something good, let them know. Give them a thumbs up. Token systems are used class-wide and great for an all behaviorally disturbed classroom. Most intervention systems are tiered. When students behave, they climb the tiers and earn extra privileges associated with those tiers. Positive environment should be maintained. Take swift action for any types of bullying or negative behavior. And try to make the classroom a fun and exciting place. Allow them some free and fun time every now and then. The next strategy is self-management. Here, students regulate their own behavior. This should be the ultimate goal when working with EBD students. In the case of self-management, students are holding themselves accountable, thus making the teacher's job a little easier. As for an objective, you want your students to be able to 1. Identify the target behavior, research the behavior, establish goals, record actions, and evaluate progress. Next is social skills training. The idea behind social skills training is that you want your students to function in various social situations. Some examples of social skills include the following: being able and willing to share, which is a young student problem, having the ability to make direct eye contact with others, expressing sympathy for others and emotions when appropriate, and having lasting discussions. To really help the students, you must plan actual lessons and put them in similar situations to learn the behaviors. And the last section of the video is wraparound services. Wraparound services bring together all the meaningful people in a child's life where they team up and set the goals, discuss plans, and have interventions. Wraparound services are essentially your last resort. The team usually consists of teachers, parents, coaches, relatives, and administrators. The team creates goals and plans to ensure the student is successful in the classroom, and it's an all-hands-on-deck idea. Wraparound services also encompass the child's life outside of the school. Most of these students have serious problems at home. We don't want to lose them to the streets. Right now, I just want to say thank you for your time. Please like and share this video. Subscribe to this channel.
And that is my presentation. Thank you.